Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omid Noroozi from Wageningen University, and I'm very happy to present my work entitled Fostering Multidisciplinary Learning Through Computer-Supported Collaboration Script. In this study, we specifically focus on the role of a transactive memory script that was embedded in a computer-supported learning platform. First of all, let me thank my colleagues who have guided me write this paper, especially Professor Weinberger, who is also present in this meeting. So for solving many of today's problems, professionals need to collaborate in multidisciplinary teams. This is also the case in education, where the students need to be prepared in order to construct solutions to adjust to, and to cope with complex problems and issues. And the focus of this study is on multidisciplinary setting, whereby students from two different disciplinary backgrounds, specifically from social sciences background and natural sciences background, combine their knowledge in order to design a problem solution plan for an authentic learning task. The main advantage of multidisciplinary learning is that students from different disciplinary backgrounds benefit from one another's idea, one another's complementary expertise, and bring various viewpoints and perspectives into a problem in which would have been impossible through single disciplinary thinking. But despite all the advantages of this setting, there are still two challenges, you name it, that are inherent in this multidisciplinary setting. First of all, people who come from different disciplinary backgrounds, they need to establish a common ground, and for that, they may spend quite a long time on establishing and pooling and processing on shared knowledge and information, because they don't have knowledge about the knowledge of the learning partners, and therefore they need to spend quite a long time for that. And as a result, they may fail in pooling and processing on shared knowledge and information, which is very important for collaborative learning. Second, due to divergent domain of expertise of the multidisciplinary learners, they are not able to properly propose counter-arguments against the statements of the learning partners, and as a result, they are not able to engage in transactive discussions and argumentations, which are seen to be very important in collaborative learning. This is striking because scientific evidence shows that there are for multidisciplinary collaborative learning, it's important that the students rapidly pool and process their unshared knowledge, and also they engage in transactive discussions. These problems can be solved if the students have some sort of meta-knowledge about the learning partners. Having meta-knowledge about the knowledge of the learning partners is named transactive memory system, in which students collaborate and in which students coordinate the distributed knowledge in the group in order to solve a learning task. So what is a transactive memory system? In another definition, is forming a collaboratively shared system of encoding, storing, and retrieving information in the group for developing a shared awareness of who knows what in the group. In other words, in order to establish a transactive memory system in the group, a student needs to know what his or her own learning partners know about the learning task. They need to divide tasks, and they need to share responsibility for part of the task that they have the main knowledge about that part. And also at the end, they need to retrieve this information from the individuals who have the most expertise in the group. Virtual environments such as ICT tools and also computer support systems for collaborative learning have the potential to facilitate the construction of transactive memory systems. For example, representational tools, knowledge awareness tools, and discussion-based tools have been designed in such a way to facilitate the coordination of the distributed knowledge or the transactive memory system. Specifically, we focus on the scripts that could be easily embedded into the CSCL platform, such as prompts, sentence openers, and inbox and box tools. Here is the design of the transactive memory script that we created and embedded into the CSCL platform in order to facilitate the transactive memory system. First, we wanted the students to briefly sketch the knowledge area that they have mastered so far. We wanted them to tell the learning partners what kind of expertise they have in order to solve the learning task, and we wanted to know, we wanted the students to ask their learning partners, okay, what kind of expertise they have in order to solve the learning task. And also we have the storage space that was allocated for the task distribution and acceptance of the responsibilities in the group. And also at the end, we prompted the students to retrieve information and knowledge from the individuals who had the most expertise in the group. Here, I'll show you an example of the CSCL platform with the transactive memory script. Students could choose from that card, and then you, for example, for building awareness or encoding phase, this kind of screenshots would appear, and then they had to put their knowledge, and then after that, learning partners could see what kind of knowledge learning partner have in order to solve the learning task. And these are also the other sort of scripts that were embedded into the platform. And another example. But let's go back to the research question. We wanted to know to what extent are the construction of the transactive memory system, to what extent the learner satisfaction and experience, and also to what extent the learning performance could be affected by this transactive memory script that we designed in a CSCL platform. Basically, we had 60 learners, 30 learners with the social sciences background and 30 learners with the natural sciences background, and we randomly divided them in dyads, and then we asked them to combine their knowledge and solve the learning task. We had two groups, one scripted condition in which we introduced the transactive memory system, and one control group in which we just asked them to collaborate without any kind of intervention. This is an example of the problem case that they had to solve due to the time constraint. I just skipped this one. The procedure of the study, we had 4 phases for this study. First, we had the introduction phase in which we asked the students to ask a couple of questions in terms of their characteristics and the personal data. And then we had the individual learning phase in which the students were asked to individually design a problem solution plan for the problem case. And then after that, we had the collaborative phase. First, we introduced the learners to the CSCL platform, and then we gave them some procedure what to do with that. And then after that, the students had 80 minutes time to collaborate and discuss and to combine their complementary knowledge in order to design the solution plan. And then at the end, we had the post-test and debriefing phase in which the students again had to fill up a couple of questionnaires in terms of the construction of the transactive memory system, in terms of their satisfaction and experience, and also we had the debriefing phase at the end. We used an adopted coding scheme from Lewis in order to see whether the transactive memory system was facilitated or not. This scheme included 3 aspects: specializations, credibility or trust, or coordination. In order to measure learner satisfaction and experience, we adopted a questionnaire, and this questionnaire included 5 main items. For example, we wanted to see whether perceived outcomes of the learning task or appreciation of the learning material was better for the scripted condition than unscripted or not. And at the end also we developed a kind of content analysis coding scheme, and we rated the student solution plan at the end, ranging from inadequate solution plan quality and also high quality solution plan. Here the result, you can see for both groups of learners at the end they had almost a good sense of specialization, credibility, and coordination. But for the scripted condition, that was significantly higher than unscripted condition. And for some part of the learning, satisfaction and experience, the scripted condition outperformed the unscripted condition, but for some part of that it was more, for some part of that it was less satisfactory. And then at the end we also analyzed the individual learning analysis from pre-test to post-test, and we found that both groups of students significantly gained knowledge from pre-test to post-test, but there was still significant differences between two groups. The scripted condition outperformed the unscripted condition, and we believe that because the students in the scripted condition were facilitated to coordinate the distributed knowledge in the group, they were facilitated to share task responsibility, and they also knew what other knowledge the learning partners have that could be easily applied to the learning task. That was the reason for these differences between the scripted and unscripted condition. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Altogether, the experiment took 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Were they staying in that from the beginning to the end, or is it different sections?
No, that was done in one go. I mean,
So 3.5 hours.
3 hours.
Okay, so how would you comment? Because it's a very controlled kind of experiment. Yeah. How would you comment the impact of these experimental conditions on your final findings?
Yeah, because we combined this experiment with another that I didn't report the results of that in this study. Yeah, that was one of the limitations of this study because this was very short. And basically we did that on purpose because we wanted to see to what extent the technology affordances like this CSTL scripts could be used to facilitate collaborative learning in such a short term, because time is very important for collaborative learners. They need to combine their knowledge as fast as possible because they don't have too much time, and of course that's kind of synchronous part of collaboration, but still, yeah, I would like to continue this experiment in a long study duration to see what are the differences, especially when it comes to the long-term effects. The more learners are engaged in the experiments, the better they learn for the long-term effect.
So just to clarify, in 3.5 hours, they come here and test their knowledge of the domain.
Yeah.
And in another, after 3.5 hours, after 3.5 hours, to test again their knowledge of the domain.
Yes.
Do you think that's transactive memory before and after?
The transactive memory was not assessed before.
No, it's just after.
It's after, because we believe that the students did not have any knowledge about the expertise of the learning partners. So that was not, they didn't know each other at all, and they didn't have any knowledge about one another's expertise. That's why we did not investigate the transactive memory system in the beginning of the experiment.
Did they like to answer these questions? Did they enjoy it? Did you ask them more? I mean, did they?
Okay, this is one issue that I would like to raise. What we do with this technology. I mean, we create a lot of technology platforms, for students to do, and then we run the experiments after. And then after a while, this platform is gone, and nobody uses that anymore. What we do with this technology, we need to bring that in a real-world situation. And now after the experiments, I found some solution plans, because my background also comes from agricultural area and agricultural water management. This was the case. I found some solution plans that was really amazing. For the rural areas because they had to plan a solution plan to improve the sustainable behavior among farmers in one village. And really I found these solution plans that included two complementary expertise, the students from the natural sciences background, they had the technical background, but they did not know how to transfer this technical knowledge to the farmers. Farmers do not buy this kind of technical stuff, so they had to refer to the students from the social science background that they knew how to transfer this knowledge. I mean, for us it's important to, if we design something, if we make any kind of innovation, we need to bring that to the real world situations. I don't like to design this kind of, CSPL platform for nothing. That's why they really liked it, and then at the end, they were all happy that, okay, now they know how to make sense of their knowledge and expertise when they want to introduce that to a new situation.
The variation on the same question is, these things, it's sort of strict and good learning, that's what we said about that. And the one is, when students aren't forced to do it, one of the curriculum, they don't tend to do it voluntarily. So you don't have to analyze it and one comment from the student was, I didn't either of those, because they really made me think. Yeah. So, and that's the essence of the problem. Now, I can find a way of getting engaged with the argument, not and people thinking in ways on pulled by the curriculum. So I just think it's getting used by whether it's supposed to be made more open and voluntary practice. It's really what students would do if they were instructed to do.
Yeah, I agree with your suggestion, and one of the problems is that we sometimes want too much from the students, that we want them to really follow the structured, set of questions, that they answer this question. And what I believe is that we need to first take into account the user's experiences in the beginning, because some of the students are really, they really don't like to follow the instructions. They're getting very frustrated at the beginning, because they know, for example, sometimes we introduce some sort of script to improve the argumentative knowledge construction, but they are already aware of that, and they say that if you let me free, then I can construct better arguments even. I mean, sometimes I hear this kind of complaint. That's why I believe that before running any experiments, and also in the real educational settings, we need to take the user's experiences into account in order to have the best out of the scripted condition.
And the last question. So, actually, I know that I'm going to do the question on
Adaptive.
Might ask you if you measure the perception before the dimension, because we didn't really know each other. And of course, it's very big, I'm not going to criticize that. But it is a question of whether the street would continue being effective if the students did know each other, and after a while they do get to know each other.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I know where you come from with this question, but the point here is that transactive memory system is a kind of memory kind of task. I mean, that has been originally designed for couples and families to learn how to perform a task, to divide the task among the family and other stuff. For us, this was important to see, first of all, this could be facilitated in a very short term. Now, maybe in the future, I'm going to follow your advice and to see what happens if we can follow your advice. Yeah.
We had a study here, we did check the vaccine for after what happened is the vaccine level for all the environment. We found out that the community how much they measure the virtual environment in an informative amount. So I don't know maybe what is the environment and what is the for that. But it's a lot of knowledge that we got to, and it's trying to transfer
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Thank you very much.